Percy Shelley is one of the most highly regarded English romantic poets and one of the most influential. His poetry and his social political views were radical. He was born in 1972 in England. He went to Oxford University. He spent his whole life searching for personal love and social justice. He was married twice, and his second wife, Mary Shelley, was a novelist. He drowned in a lake when he was 29 years old. Recognition for his poetry grew after his death.
The poem itself is written in 1819, during the Romantic era. However, one can argue that the poem is more of an enlightenment poem, dealing with issues like workers standing up to their so-called superiors. One can also argue that the poem does in fact follow the criteria of the Romantic age. It is a lyrical poem that could even be set to music. The structure of 4-line stanzas rhyming A, B does give the poem a song-like character. This simple structure and rhyme scheme is less intellectual and more accessible to uneducated people.
Men of England, wherefore plough for the lords who lay you low? Wherefore weave with toil and care the rich robes your tyrants wear? Wherefore feed and clothe and save from the cradle to the grave those ungrateful drones who would drain your sweat, nay, drink your blood? Wherefore bees of England forge many a weapon, change and scourge, that these stingless drones may spoil the forced produce of your toil? Have ye leisure, comfort, calm, shelter, food, love's gentle balm? Or what is it ye buy so dear, with your pain and with your fear? The seed ye sow, another reaps, the wealth ye find, another keeps, the robes you weave, another wears, the arms you forge, another bears. Sow seed, but let no tyrant reap. Find wealth, let no impostor heap. Weave robes, let not the idle wear. Forge arms in your defense to bear. Shrink to your cellars, halls and cells. In hall ye deck, another dwells. Why shake the chains ye wrought? Ye see the steel ye tempered glance on ye. With plough and spade and a hoe and loom, trace your grave and build your tomb, and weave your winding sheet till fair England be your sepulchre. The poem describes the unfair treatment of the workers in England during the early 19th century. This shows that the Romantic era did not only contain idyllic romantic poems, but it also had literature inspired by Enlightenment ideas and rebellion against the current leaders of the society. The working class was the huge majority of the society, but they had terrible working conditions. When the Industrial Revolution came, many people got work in factories with dangerous machines and low pay. This era contained lots of emotions and a new generation who questioned and criticized the old ways and didn't accept all the unfair treatment of people of the working class and lower class in the society. This poem, sung to the men of England, is a great example of encouraging workers to stand up for themselves and not to accept these terrible conditions and unfair treatment. Men of England, wherefore plough for the lords who lay you low? Wherefore weave with toil and care the rich robes your tyrants wear? Wherefore feed and clothe and save from the cradle to the grave those ungrateful drones who would drain your sweat, nay, drink your blood? In the first stanza, he asks the men of England, which are the workers, why they choose to plough, weave and work hard for the upper class who suppresses them. He wants to convey that the lords and leaders don't care about the workers, so why should the workers put work and care into the labor that they do for the upper class? The second stanza is similar to the first one, as he continues to question why you should have to work, quote, from the cradle to the grave, end quote, for the ungrateful people who are only taking advantage of you and who feels no sense of remorse for doing so. The drones are actually drone bees, which he uses as a metaphor for the upper class, as the drone bees are the ones that do no work themselves but lives on the work of others. The main theme in these two stanzas is critique of the fact that the workers have to work hard and make luxury items for the lords, while they themselves can barely afford to keep their families alive. His choice of words like drones and tyrants are highly negative loaded adjectives that helps the reader understand that the cruelty of the upper class.
Wherefore beasts of England forge many a weapon, chain and scourge, that these stingless drones may spoil the forced produce of your toil. Have ye leisure, comfort, calm, shelter, food, love's gentle balm? Or what is it that ye buy so dear, with your pain and with your fear? He uses the expression beasts of England to draw a parallel between the current system of British society and the organized society of bees. Worker bees must work and contribute to the colony just like the workers in the English society had to do at the time. Then he compares their lords to stingless drones, which are male bees who don't contribute to the colony because they don't have stingers to protect the beehive. Just like these male bees, the lords left all the hard work to the lower class workers. In stanza 4, he suggests that the lower class workers are not paying attention to the situation they're in. They're not being rewarded properly for all their hard work, and they put up with it instead of trying to make a change and fight for justice. They continue to please the rich, even though they deserve better. He wants to spark something in these workers and strike anger into them so that they revolt.
The seed you sow, another reaps. The wealth you find, another keeps. The ropes you weave, another wears. The arms you forge, another bears. Sow seed, but let no tyrant reap. Find wealth, let no impostor heap. Weave robes, let not the idle wear. Forge arms in your defense to bear. These two stanzas portray how the nobles are benefiting from the hard work done by the working class. In these stanzas, Shelley uses repetition to get his point across, and by doing so strengthening his message. Both stanzas are pretty straightforward. What he's trying to tell the workers is that the nobles are using them to do their dirty work, so to speak. Shelley is trying to get a rise out of him and trying to make him see what's going on, ultimately making them stand up for themselves. In stanza 6, Shelley changes from asking to encouraging. He's no longer asking questions, but encouraging the workers to claim what they made for themselves in order to be able to fight back against the nobles. He's simply telling them to keep doing their work, but to not let the nobles benefit from that. For once, he wants them to benefit from their hard work. Shrink to your cellars, holes, and cells. In hall your deck another dwells. Why shake the chains you wrought? You see, the steel you tempered, glance in ye. With plough and spade and hoe and loom, trace your grave and build your tomb, and weave your winding sheet till fair England be your sepulchre. These stanzas are arguably the most important ones. They give the workers a shocking image of what will continue to happen unless they take action. If they continue to do nothing, nothing will ever change, and eventually, they'll end up using their own working tools to build their graves. By taking it to the extremes, Shelley is desperately trying to convince the workers to stand up for themselves. He's gone from asking questions and lightly encouraging them to trying to aggravate them into taking action against the nobles. When looking at the poem as a whole, the tone of the speaker is condescending, almost daring his readers to rise up to his challenge, to take action. Shelley wants them to see England as he sees it, a place where the rich reap all the fruits of the poor's hard labor. The diction, as I mentioned earlier, is less difficult than usual, and the bee metaphor in stanza number 3 is easy to understand. The call is to sow their own seed, weave their own robes, and forge their own arms in their own defense. Otherwise, the people are merely digging their own graves. Shelley's opening condescending tone turns in an all-out charade as he insults the workers by accusing them of being too cowardly to rise up against the upper class. Shrink to your cellars, holes and cells, he says, understanding that revolution can be hard and bloody, but daring the Englishmen to do what they need to do to get what they deserve from their own labor. Lastly, the poem serves as a great reminder for the English, what was and will hopefully never be again.